Yeah, and imagine you're on a late night flight over Florida. The hum of the engines is steady, the cabin lights are dimmed, and most passengers are either dozing off or quietly reading. The world outside is pitch black with only the occasional flicker of lightning far in the distance. Everything feels calm, ordinary. The flight attendants move softly down the aisles, checking seat belts and offering water to those still awake. It's the kind of night where you'd expect nothing out of the ordinary, a routine journey, just another hop across the state. But sometimes the most routine moments can hide the seeds of disaster. In the cockpit, the pilots are running through their checklists, chatting quietly about the weather and their plans for landing. Then suddenly something so small, a single light bulb that doesn't turn on, sets the stage for one of aviation's strangest and darkest mysteries. It's just a landing gear indicator, a tiny green light that should signal the wheels are down and locked. But tonight it stays dark. The pilots tap the panel, check the circuit breakers, and try to troubleshoot. It seems like a minor annoyance, but in aviation, even the smallest malfunction can demand your full attention. The pilots were focused on fixing a tiny landing gear light. They discussed possibilities. Is it just the bulb, or is there a real problem with the landing gear? The procedures are reviewed, manuals are consulted, and the crew's attention narrows to this one stubborn detail. The cockpit, usually a place of calm routine, becomes a hive of activity and concern. Every second their focus sharpens on the panel, searching for answers in the dim glow of the instruments. But while their eyes were on that bulb, the plane was quietly losing altitude. Outside, only darkness. The vast Florida Everglades stretch out below, invisible in the night. No city lights, no landmarks, just endless blackness. The aircraft, unnoticed by those inside, begins a slow, silent descent. The autopilot is disengaged, but no one realizes the danger. The world outside is silent, save for the distant rumble of thunder and the steady drone of the engines. Inside, silence, moments before disaster. Passengers remain unaware, lost in their own thoughts or drifting towards sleep. The flight attendants sense the tension in the cockpit, but keep calm faces for the passengers. In these final moments, before everything changes, the entire plane is suspended between routine and catastrophe, unaware that history is about to be made in the darkness below. Flight 401 crashed into the remote, unforgiving Everglades swamp on a dark December night. Its descent sudden and catastrophic. The silence of the wilderness was shattered by the roar of tearing metal and the screams of engines as the plane broke apart, scattering debris across the murky waters and tangled sawgrass. In an instant, a routine flight became a scene of unimaginable chaos and devastation. Water, mud, and fire swallowed the wreckage, consuming the remains of the aircraft and its passengers. Flames flickered across the surface of the swamp, casting eerie shadows as thick smoke billowed into the night sky. The once pristine Everglades became a graveyard, the twisted metal and broken seats barely visible, layers of mud and water. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, battling darkness, treacherous terrain, and the overwhelming sense of loss. In seconds, 101 lives were lost, passengers and crew whose journeys ended in tragedy. The survivors, dazed and injured, clung to hope as they waited for rescue, surrounded by the haunting silence of the swamp. But the real nightmare was only just beginning. As the hours passed, a heavy fog rolled in, cloaking the wreckage in an otherworldly mist. The empty cockpit sat in silence, its instruments frozen at the moment of impact, a chilling reminder of the disaster that had just unfolded. Survivors huddled together in the darkness, shivering from cold and fear. Some swore they heard whispers in the night, soft, urgent voices calling out from the shadows, voices that sounded eerily like the crew, even though they were already gone. The line between reality and nightmare began to blur. Shadows seemed to move through the wreckage, flickering at the edge of vision. Some claimed to see figures walking among the broken fuselage, their forms barely visible in the gloom, as the spirits of the lost were still searching for a way out. Eyes, glowing, watchful, appeared in the smoky darkness, reflections of something more, peering out from the haze. In the aftermath of Flight 401, the Everglades held its secrets close, and for those who survived, the memories of that night would haunt them forever. Pilots on different flights reported seeing Captain Robert Loft in their cockpit. He would calmly warn them, check the engine, then vanish into thin air. Flight attendants described seeing Engineer Don Repo repairing equipment in the galley, only for him to disappear seconds later. Passengers claim strangers sat next to them, then vanished without a trace. But in the aftermath of the Flight 401 disaster, investigators made a startling discovery that would send ripples through the aviation world. As the wreckage was painstakingly recovered from the murky swamps of the Everglades, it became clear that not all of the plane's parts would pais to rest. Instead, several components ranging from cockpit instruments to galley equipment were carefully salvaged, refurbished, and quietly installed into other aircraft in the airline's fleet. Mechanics and engineers, under pressure to save costs and resources, saw this as a practical solution, but no one could have predicted the strange events that would soon follow. Soon after these parts were reused, reports began to surface from flight crews and passengers alike. They spoke of unexplained cold spot, mysterious figures appearing in the aisles, and even direct encounters with the apparitions of Flight 401's lost crew. Could it be that the spirits of those who perished were somehow bound to the very metal that had carried them to their tragic fate? Was the energy of that fateful night forever etched into the salvaged components, turning ordinary flights into chilling encounters with the unknown? Decades have passed, but the legend of Flight 401 endures. The story has become a haunting chapter in aviation history, whispered among pilots and flight attendants as a cautionary tale. To this day, Flight 401 remains one of the most chilling and mysterious tragedies ever to haunt the skies. Its legacy shrouded in unanswered questions and eerie coincidences. So, what truly happened aboard those planes that carried the salvage parts? Were the strange sightings and ghostly encounters simply the result of traumatized minds struggling to make sense of the unthinkable? Or is it possible that the restless souls of Flight 401's crew still linger, watching over the skies, warning those who dare to forget the lessons of the past? The answer remains elusive, leaving us to wonder, are some mysteries destined never to be solved?